If people think this is too expensive, they simply don't know how to do math. I saved $40,000 in just feed costs. That year that I did have a wreck, that was kind of my own fault. Got a little stingy on the feed. So coming into that spring, they were a little bit thinner than they should have been. And that year, my open rate was 14-15%. We were still dry, started onto the Riomax, and that next following year, it dropped back down to like 7%. I packed around a digital scale and weighed those tubs as soon as I could lift them, and figured it out to the T what they were eating. Never overconsumed, ever. And they seem to regulate themselves throughout the year. Their highest consumption is probably a month before calving, which I like. You can't manage what you can't measure. In the feed savings alone that winter, just about paid for 3/4 of the load. On 200 commercial cows, I was feeding 4 bales per day, and I cut out 1 whole bale. It saved me a lot of money, put it that way. And cows were happier, more content, not only in the hay and the winter feeding, but they're consuming less grass as well. On these same fields, typically the same amount of days, and I left grass. My cows are as fat as they've ever been. I've hardly treated a foot rot anymore. On 240, 50 cows, you would treat a few per month. It just seems to have just disappeared. Years before, we were probably into the high 60s, 68s, 70-ish. I'm pushing upwards of 78% in the first cycle, in the first 21 days. In 2 years, haven't had one single retained placenta. They clean so fast. When you looked at it at the cost of the tub, they're 3 times as much. But its cost per head per day was cheaper than the other product I was using. I was probably upwards, over $1 a day, whereas these are, you're down into the like 60 some cents. The results speak for themselves. Less open cows, healthier cows. Whoever came up with that slogan is hands down a genius, because it does pay for itself. Feed savings alone, all the other benefits that come along with it is almost gravy.